Reading is not a perfect man, a conference is a ready man, and writing is an accurate man. The truth cannot be reached by simply listening to the voice of authority. Naivety in arts and opinions are also of two kinds, when men give so much faith to the arts themselves, or to some author in any art. There are 3 degrees to this concealment and concealment of the same man: the first, closeness and reservation, and second, secrecy, closeness in the negative, and the third, mimicry in the affirmative. A little philosophy directs the human mind to atheism, but the depth in philosophy draws people's minds to religion. Time is like a river, where minerals and solids sink, while straw and straw swim to the surface. The wise man creates more opportunities than he finds. In revenge, a man is even with his enemy, but in transgressing him, he is better. It is not what we eat but what we digest that makes us strong. I give man the imagination to make up for what he is not, a sense of humor to console him for what he is. For the light to shine so bright, darkness must be present. The general roots of superstition, that is, that people watch when things strike, and not when they err, and they are bound to remember one, and forget and pass on the other. A false friend is more dangerous than an open enemy. Some books are to be tasted, others to be eaten, but only a few are to be chewed and digested well. When you wander, as you so gladly do, you really do wander, and you never give such satisfaction as the time of curiosity requires. If a man begins with facts, he ends with doubts, but if he suffices with doubts, he ends with certainty. Let's enlarge the mind to the greatness of secrets, not the riddles that are gripped by the narrowness of the mind. He who has his wife and children are hostages of wealth, because they are obstacles to major projects, whether from virtue or harm. It is a sad fate that a man so well known to all, and still unknown to himself, dies. Melodies and ambience in themselves have some affinity with feelings. Nay, the numbering of himself in armies is not so important, where people are of weak courage, for as Virgil says, a wolf never bothers how many sheep. Beauty in itself is but the delicate image of the infinite. Death is a friend to us, and he who is not ready to entertain him is not at home. He who gives up his alms until he dies is, if a man weighed correctly, more liberal than another man, not of his own. Hope is a good breakfast, but a bad dinner. Again, there is another great and powerful reason why science has made so little progress, and it is this. It is not possible to manage the right course when the goal itself is not set properly. Silence is sleep that nourishes wisdom. The weakness of the sick, the sweetness of life, the nature of hope, makes men depend on doctors for all their faults. Nature, which has so much heat, and great and violent desires and turmoil, is not ripe for action until it crosses the meridian in its years. A little knowledge separates a person from God, and a lot of knowledge brings him back. History makes wise men, brilliant poets, subtle mathematics, natural, profound philosophy, moral, serious, logic and rhetoric, capable of arguing. Heat is motion, it is stretched, bound, and acts in its struggle against the smaller particles of bodies. The best poets at combining music and medicine, in Apollo, for the office of medicine is nothing but to tune the peculiar lyre of the human body and transform it into harmony. Human knowledge and human power come together in one, for in the absence of cause the effect cannot be produced. Books are true friends who will never flatter and never falter. Be true to yourself, and you will not need another rest. Philosophy, when studied superficially, arouses suspicion. When thoroughly explored, it dispels it. Do not read to contradict and refute, do not believe and take for granted, but weigh and meditate. Write down the ideas of the moment. Those that come without demand are generally the most valuable. Neither the pleasure of curiosity, nor the calmness of resolution, nor the elevation of the soul, nor the triumph of intelligence, nor the faculty of speech, are the true ends of knowledge. You can't teach a child to take care of himself unless you let him try to take care of himself. He will make mistakes, and from those mistakes comes his wisdom. Talking in perpetual exaggeration is nothing but love. Parents' joys are a secret, and so are their sorrows and fears. Why does a man love his chains, even if they are of gold? Conjugal love makes humanity, friendly love perfects it, but savage love spoils and spoils it. The stage is more of a view of love than of human life. For the theater, love is always a matter of comedies and tragedies now and then, but in life it causes much mischief, sometimes like a nymph, sometimes like wrath.
For the crowd is not companionship, and the faces are but a gallery of pictures, and they speak but the cymbals ringing, where there is no love.
Write down the ideas of the moment. Those that come without demand are generally the most valuable. Envy is always associated with comparing one's soul, and where there is no comparison, there is no envy. It is better to perceive the nature of man in privacy, because there is no sympathy, in passion, because that brings man out of his commandments, and in a new state or new experience, there is a habit that leaves him. Don't believe so much that they seem to despise wealth, because they despise those who despair of them. People usually think according to their inclinations, speak according to their established learning and opinions, but generally act according to custom. Money is a great servant but a bad master. The study of nature with the aim of business is done by the mechanic, and the mathematician, and the physician, and the chemist, and the magician, but all is now with little effort and little success. He who has a cynical vein, because he makes others fear his own intelligence, therefore he needs to fear the memory of others. Prosperity discovers vice and adversity discovers virtue. The lame man who keeps the right path is superior to the runner who takes the wrong path. Wealth is for spending, and spending on honor and good deeds, and therefore extraordinary alimony should be limited to the value of the occasion. Neither the bare hand nor the understanding, if left to itself, can do much. The work is accomplished with tools and aids, of which the need for understanding is no less than the hand. Good fame is like fire, when you kindle it you can easily keep it, but if you put it out, you will not easily catch it again. Nothing helps in accepting men with an open door, and receiving them with a closed and reserved face. Choosing time is saving time. As the births of living beings are at first poorly formed, so are all innovations, which are the birth of time. Wisdom for the soul of man in many of its branches, is a corrupt thing. The difference of mind between self-love and society. Travel, in the younger category, is part of the education, and in the elderly, part of the experience. It's a miserable state of mind to have so few things to desire and so many things to fear. The greatest trust between man and man is trust in giving advice. Wealth is like a market, where, often, if you can stay a little longer, the price will fall.